Does thinking about which car to buy fill you with dread? Are there just too many brands with too many confusing options and where do you even start? Well, why not start with a popular brand that has a good reputation and has recently redesigned two of its best-selling cars to be more comfortable, more fun to drive, and packed with technology. I'm talking about the Honda Civic and the Honda Accord. These two models come in so many different trims, we're going to be able to find one that suits any car craving. We're going to focus on these two examples, a 2019 Honda Civic EX hatchback and a 2019 Honda Accord sports sedan. It's not a competition, more like a team effort to showcase what's available between these two models. I'm Alana from Edmunds. We've tested and reviewed thousands of cars, on-road and off. Now we're partnered with CarMax, who appraise, buy, and sell hundreds of thousands to help find the right car for you. In this case, the right Honda for you. Which one should you get? What's the difference between the two? Well, the Accord is larger than the Civic and more powerful, so the Civic will generally cost less off the bat and later at the pump. But the Accord offers more ride comfort and has a near luxury feel inside. We'll explore all that in just a minute. If we had every configuration of Civic and Accord here right now, there would be cars in every direction, cars as far as you can see. The Civic comes in 8 different versions, and the Accord comes in 5. And that's not even counting all the engine options. So there are 2 doors, 4 doors, hatchbacks, hot rods. It's a little overwhelming. If you're really into minimalism, the LX trim is the base level for both models. And if performance or luxury is your bag, look for the Accord Touring and the SI or Type R Civic. In the meantime though, we're going to look at the more mild-mannered Civic EX and Accord Sport. Both of these are more middle-of-the-road trim levels and represent an average buyer's mix of options and value. Speaking of average, what are we talking about in terms of price on these cars? Well, right now, a Civic should be available for about $20,000, and a similarly equipped Accord will be closer to $24,000. Obviously, that depends on options, but you get the idea that the Accord is generally just a tad more expensive. Wait, I almost forgot. If you're the type of person who likes to dig into the specs, click the link below for an in-depth article. Now let's dive into what you get for the money. We'll start small. The Civic is the smaller of the two with a 106.3-inch wheelbase. That's 8.8 feet, which is the same length as a full-grown alligator, but easier to park. We've got the hatchback here, which is, in my opinion, cuter than the sedan or coupe, but more importantly, it comes with the turbocharged 1.5-liter 4-cylinder engine standard, which is a step up from the base naturally aspirated 2-liter. That means more horsepower, 174 ponies, yeah! If you need even more horses, a more powerful turbocharged 1.5-liter engine is available in the higher trims with 205 horsepower. And in the Type R, you can get a turbo 2-liter. What? Yeah, 306 horses and a 6-speed. Yow! In the Accord, the base engine is the 1.5-liter, but it's tuned to 192 horsepower. Higher trims come with a punchy 2-liter turbo and 252 horsepower, and the Accord offers a hybrid option, which Civic no longer does. All these horses, it's like we're at the ding-dang rodeo. We'll get back to power and driving in a minute. First, let's take a closer look at the Civic. I already said that I like the looks of the Civic, and that goes for the inside too. Unfortunately, it doesn't feel as good as it looks. I don't actually mind having hard plastic on the dash and on the console, but I hate it on the steering wheel. Hate it. It feels like a video game controller and it gets all sweaty and just like, ugh. You can get a leather-wrapped steering wheel if you move up to the EXL trim. And leather in the rest of the upholstery too, although I will say that I don't mind the cloth. I think the cloth interior looks really nice. However, if you are a pet person, we'll warn you that dog hair, just get into that weave and just stay there forever. Design-wise, the Civic is well thought out with this double-decker shelf at the front of the console and these cool sliding elements towards the back. Big drink? No problem. Short like me? Slide the armrest up. Tall? Slide it back. Something to think about when shopping this generation of Civic, which was introduced in 2016, is that the pre-2019 models don't have a physical volume knob. Now that might not sound like a big deal until you're driving along trying to turn down the volume without taking your eyes off the road. I guess enough people complained that Honda put it back for 2019. Tech-wise, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard on everything but the LX. EX and up get Sirius XM, and navigation is on touring only. You can scroll through your tunes and your maps on the 7-inch touchscreen. Higher trims have more amenities like automatic windshield wipers and heated rear seats. But you'll be happy to hear that driver assistance features like adaptive cruise control, forward collision mitigation, lane departure warning, and lane keep assist are standard at every trim level. What you don't get are any charge ports in the back. You get some cup holders and this light switch. Sorry kids, that's it. Enough of that, let's see how it drives. I like a small car. I know everybody is really into SUVs, and I get it. The seating position and extra roominess are really nice, but there is something so great about knowing that you will always be able to find a parking space and that you can just swing your car around in a tight spot. The Civic is the perfect apartment building, small garage, big city car. This EX isn't even close to the most powerful Civic that you can buy, and it is more than enough for the average commute. The engine can be a little loud if you're really on the gas, but it doesn't sound bad, and the steering and braking are very nicely balanced, so nothing is too loose or too twitchy. Feels good. I don't love the transmission. It's a CVT, and CVTs can be somewhat sluggish to respond, and this one is. Sometimes you'll get on it and it'll be like, what? Did you want me to do something? I'm like, yeah, could you maybe go up or down a gear? It doesn't really have gears. Never mind, forget it. Anyway, the point is I don't love it. The good news is the Civic is available in a manual, so you can buy that, and then if it's slow to shift, it's your fault. The Civic has a trick rear view camera that comes on in the center screen when you use the turn signal. And I gotta say, I find all of these sort of alternates for the side view mirrors to be more distracting than useful. By the time you figure out what you're looking at, you've probably already run into it. Plus, it interrupts whatever it was that you had on the screen before. Just use your side view mirrors like your driving instructor told you to. Okay, say you like the Civic, but you want more. More! More room, more comfort, more refinement. I think you're gonna like what the Accord has to offer. The Accord has a 111.4-inch wheelbase, making it about 9.2 feet, which is also the size of a fully grown alligator, but a larger alligator than the Civic. The Accord was very recently redesigned. 2018 was the first year for this generation, and it won our Edmunds Editor's Choice Award in 2019, so you already know that we like it. But will you? Let's find out. Like the Civic, the Accord comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard on all but the LX. If you want XM radio or navigation, you're gonna need to look at the higher trim levels. You get an 8-inch touchscreen and all the same Honda sensing driver aids. Compared with the Civic, the Accord just does everything bigger and better. It feels more sophisticated because the tech is more advanced and the materials are softer and more interesting. It still doesn't have a charge port in the back, and it doesn't even have that little light. But the back seats are bigger and more comfortable. Let's take this big boy for a ride. This Accord has a CVT like the Civic, but I feel like the transmission in the Accord is just a little bit livelier. Oh, you were ready for me. You can also get an Accord with a manual transmission, or in the higher trim levels with a 10-speed automatic and the bigger turbocharged 2-liter engine. Even without the bigger engine and optional suspension upgrades, the Accord has good response. Nice, predictable braking and handling that actually makes it fun to drive, not just a reliable grocery getter, although it is that too. It also has 2 different drive modes, including an eco mode and a sport mode, which turns the gauges red, which is the sportiest color. It just does everything a little bit smoother and softer than the Civic. If you think of the two like siblings, the Civic is the rowdy younger one, and the Accord is more mature and getting ready to go to college. They just grow up so fast. Ooh, I almost forgot a very important test. How are these two cars when it comes to cargo? I said I like the hatchback, and it's not just because of the way it looks. Look at all of that room inside. There's 25.7 cubic feet behind the rear seat, and when they're down, 46.2 cubic feet. Now, that's not quite enough room for a real alligator, but more than enough for this one. This might be a crocodile. Let's compare that to the Accord. It's a bigger car, not quite as much trunk space as the hatchback, 16.7 cubic feet, but the rear seats fold down. And there's more than enough room for what you need to carry. The Accord is a great choice if you need the room for people and you want a grown-up car with materials that almost give it the feel of a luxury sedan. Otherwise, the Civic is one of the best buys on the market. It's cute and affordable and comes in a billion configurations, from quiet to quirky. Also, remember how I said both cars had a good reputation? That's backed up by RepairPal. Both the Civic and Accord models received above-average reliability scores of 4.5 stars. Like I said at the beginning, this isn't a competition, maybe just a little sibling rivalry. At the end of the day, both these cars offer a reliable way to get around that's even a little bit fun. Thanks for watching. For more expert used car advice, be sure to subscribe and check out that article on used Civics and Accords. See you later, alligator.